We had 32 articles on our town meeting.
What's that?
1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. I said we had 32 articles on town meeting, and and a zillion on the school. We were able to get through in 2 hours. It was pretty
Wow.
remarkable.
Good.
I know, we had a school committee meeting in Warwick yesterday, and that went till 10 o'clock. I mean, and that went longer than the town meeting.
Well, that's
All right, did we have?
that's a brand new school committee, so that's understandable.
Northfield beat you. We
Yeah.
were out in 45 minutes last night or Monday night.
No, how many articles, Pat?
Late 20, early 30. I can't remember exactly, but yeah, there was quite a few on there. But it went through like, yeah, nothing. It was just whizzed through.
Yeah, that means your preparation was very good. Let me
No,
try
it
to
made-
find out why I'm not. Oh, there we go. Where am I? Oh, let me start this. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to not have you see me. All right, if we have a quorum, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, we do. Is it all right for me to start, or you want to wait a minute or two for others?
Start.
What's your pleasure?
Whatever.
Go ahead and start. Here comes Bill.
Okay. Michelle, or did Michelle just got moved in another place? Okay, great. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, we have 10. Thank you, Bill, for joining.
Sure.
So I'll call the meeting to order at 6:33. And we will do a roll call vote. So Greg,
Here.
and I'm here. And Pat,
I'm here also.
and Lynn,
Here.
and Jennifer,
Here.
and Karen,
Here.
and Mike,
Here.
Renee,
Here.
Michelle,
Here.
and Bill.
Yes.
Thank you. And if anyone else comes on, if you happen to think of it, just mention it so I can record the time as we are supposed to do. All right, so as you know, there was a lot going on when I was in South Carolina and didn't realize that they had all kinds of parties or big things planned in that evening, because I thought we would be done in an hour and a half. So they had a sweet 16 birthday and lots going on. And I was trying to detain, but they were very persistent, and I realized I needed to leave. So I apologize. So I'm going to try to fill in. Did we approve the April 4th minutes? I printed them out again and reviewed them, but I couldn't remember if we actually took action on them at the last meeting, or she wanted to take another bite at the apple. Jennifer, can
Yes.
you weigh in on that?
Yes. So Mike, thank you for your help on that. So there was one question, there was a note about someone mentioning Claire, unless I got it wrong, and it was chair, but Mike and I didn't know who Claire was. And I read it again. It did say Claire. So I think that's the only outstanding piece is who is Claire? Or did I misread or mishear it?
Renee might have been talking about Claire Brennan. Renee, do you recall?
I wasn't sure if Alan, you referenced Claire when you said after the, or maybe you talked to me. I don't know. Claire is the other co-president of the PVREA, so she may have come up. I don't know. I don't have a direct recollection of speaking about her.
Well, since I did speak to her as well, it was probably me that mentioned her name. Is it BRE in it? How do you spell her last name? Brennan. BRENNEN?
N-N-A-N, yeah.
Okay.
BRENAN.
NN.
And
Double N.
And her first name?
Claire
Claire.
with an E.
A-R-E or A-I-R? Or A-I-R-E?
D-L-A-I-R-E is her.
Yeah.
And Brennan, Brennan.
Okay.
Thanks.
And she's the co-chair of who?
PBRSD.
Who's the
Um,
I
Union
didn't,
president.
the union president?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't catch, you said PV something?
PVREA, the Teachers Union for Pioneer?
Okay, thank you. Just trying to clarify who's being referred to in a minute.
So I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes as amended.
So moved.
Okay, there were other changes than that.
There was 2 spelling. And Mike, so this is my problem with working in Google Docs and back and forth. I can't, when I try to use my computer here too, my Chromebook and this, and it's not showing me. I have 2 spelling errors and then things are underlined. And that's it. So if we were to do it as amended, it was to clarify who Claire was and her role. And the spelling updates.
Right, and
Yeah.
Alan and Greg were not included in the members present, even though they appear to have been there. And I suggested moving Mary Broderick to others present instead of including her in the list of members present.
Okay. Yep.
And there were also some other clarifications of who people were. Like I think, let me see.
I know I have it open. I just can't, like, there's things under, is everything underlined a change then? Is that what I'm looking at?
I think so. What I had, I mean, maybe that wasn't the best way to do it. I opened it in Microsoft Word and
Yeah.
turned on track changes. And so I think what track changes did was to underline everything that I added and sort of cross out stuff that I deleted.
Okay. And then I'm the only one who received that with those updates then? Or did
That's
everybody? Okay.
No, I just sent them to you.
Okay. So nobody, because we can't agree to approve if I say accept the underlined additions or updates, that's not gonna work because nobody else has seen what that looks like.
Right.
Okay.
Well, I think I remember
Well, I
comments. and-
think 2 things should happen.
Yeah.
If members have, if, go ahead, Greg.
No, I was going to say I can make a motion to accept the minutes. The content I thought was fine, but the slight changes in terms of spelling and members, I think we can approve it as amended with those changes. I'm fine with that because
I'll second it. Do you hear that? You have a second.
Yes. So we have a
Okay.
motion and we have a second. Any other discussion?
Well, how are we
All
going to
those
get a final copy? We should get a final copy to Greg, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So should we just
Yeah.
clarify how that's going to happen?
You're gonna send the corrections or whatever that you want to be clarified that you pointed out to Jennifer, who will make those changes, and she'll send it to Greg, and he will send it out. I think also, Mike, if you have suggestions, there's nothing wrong from a logistic point of view to send those directly when you read it and see them to Jennifer, and then she can make those, and then we will highlight
happened,
those.
Alan.
So we did that. And I accepted the changes on his end. And when I pulled it up, it's back to like, there's just underline and no letter. So we did that. We consulted, the updates are there. I'm going to email the changes in spelling and clarification of Claire over to Greg.
All right, I think we can
Okay.
approve them.
So Jennifer, you
amended
think you're all
because
set then, at this point?
Yes, yes.
Okay,
Thank you.
okay, good, thank you.
Okay, roll call vote. Greg, how do you vote, in favor or you approve?
Yes.
And I approve. Pat,
I approve also.
Len? You're on mute. I'll go to Renee. She looks frozen.
I approve.
Yeah, Mike,
Aye,
Karen,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes, please.
Bill,
Yes.
Michelle,
Yes.
and the chair votes to support them, to approve them as well. Len, you are frozen, so I don't know
Is
if
not,
you're aware of that.
She's okay now.
Yep. I approve.
Thank you.
unanimous.
My internet connection is really bad because as I'm listening to you, I'm hearing you break up. So I'm guessing there might be a delay between when I'm saying something and you're saying something. So if that is the case, please know I apologize. I'm not being rude. I'm not trying to cut you off. It's the delay is making me think I'm the one talking and there aren't others involved. So I'm going to move to the next part on the agenda, which is the letter to the parents. Boy, I wish I did not, I was not in South Carolina because I wasn't there. I understand I clearly caused the confusion by working with a working group and giving only them my parent letter. And then, and I didn't do the full board. And then I kind of reversed that and I thought, well, I'm going to try to save on time. And I gave the teacher letter to everybody. And then people came prepared to do the teacher letter. So I think I tried to explain in my cover letter, what had happened. My concern is there are bullets and points that should be made. And we should keep, I really support the concept of a consistent format and consistency in the majority of the bullet points. But there were a few nuances that I thought were important. And now we have a new thing that we're going to have to insert in the letter. And I hope that we're not going to have a conversation about what the wording of a couple of additions, which we'll have to make to the letter. So let me just reference that for a minute. The letter that goes to the letter that could go, I suppose we could figure out how to do it in one letter. But in talking with the superintendent at Pioneer, she felt it best that the middle school, high school, and elementary teachers all go to Pioneer on May 23rd, I think.
23rd.
May 23rd at 3:30. And then for the parents of middle school and high school, we would have a parent forum that evening for middle school and high school. For the elementary, we are going to try to have a follow-up meeting with the parents in their respective schools at Northville and Berniston. And so those will be on different dates. So that's how they wanted to proceed in terms of the staff. And we wanted to be efficient in Mary's time as much as possible and try to have her meet with the parents following. So that won't work out quite as well as we planned, but it's all about getting feedback. In Gil Montague, there was a little bit of confusion because I spoke to the superintendent who put it on the administrative council agenda. And then he wrote back and said there wasn't any time in their staff time, because that's what we were requesting, to spend a little bit of time. But we could have it, after school as close as possible. While that was going on or waiting for my communication with the superintendent, I had a conversation with Christopher Barnes, who's the principal. Bill, is he the principal of the middle school and high school?
Yep. He is.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so that explains why he could pull this off. So he said, when I talked to him, he said, well, when would you like to meet? And I explained to him, well, we'd like to meet for about 20 minutes during a staff meeting if possible to, and I don't know if it could be with the high school and the, middle school separate or how that could happen, but we'd like to meet with them and just start to, explain some of the things, get some feedback, and then see if they wanted to have a follow-up meeting. Or see what their ideas were. So he offered May 17th at 2:35 for, and I thought it was at a staff meeting, but I don't know, for middle school and high school. So their teachers would be together in the theater. And we had a conversation about, preparation. And in that, it came up that we could and we should provide the link in the letter. And he said, if you send it to me, I'll send it to the teachers to invite them to look at the presentation ahead of time. And that way, if that happens, or some do, then we can just highlight a couple things from the teachers and from the students, but then get right really into the issue of, what their ideas are. And so forth. So we can spend the majority of our limited time with the staff, and then ask them, would they be willing to have a meeting if we could arrange it between the two staffs of the districts? Are they interested in have a follow-up where there's more opportunity to share additional ideas? So I was really pleased that we seem to have a plan for our teachers. Now I'm going to flip back again to the Gil Montague. Greg has reached out to the principal of the Gill School, and he offered May 18th, I believe. And I don't remember the time, but you probably I think you sent an email to Mary. And so that's good, because we could meet within their teachers, and then we'll follow up with a parent meeting that evening. And we may have to do that a little early because of custodial coverage. And then going back to Brian had suggested we could take the two elementary schools in the Gilmontague district and have a teacher meeting as close to after school as possible, he said, in each one of the elementary schools. And in terms of the parents, we could have a meeting in their respective schools, or we could have one and invite the parents. So I think that's sort of open. These were just suggestions that, he was making ideas on how we might proceed there. So we still have a little bit of work to do so that we can cover all the bases, but I feel more optimistic that the majority of what we're trying to do now is solicit information from the teachers and from the parents, so that we can, as we get into June and so forth, start looking at brochures and marketing and how we'll be putting all this information together, so that when the fall comes, we can then present this to a larger audience, and then also have this information available to maybe do an RFQ again for someone to market what we've found, and we can talk about that in a couple of months from now, when we've kind of finalized things. So that's sort of the backdrop that I think is important to just put out there, because that kind of language we'll have to put in the staff letter. And I was thinking that the format would be the same for the Pioneer teachers, except the end of their letter would say something like, to assist you in preparing for for the forum, you will find a link below that will bring you to the PowerPoint presentation. Invite them to look at it prior to the meeting, and then put out their arrangements have been made to meet in the Kiva on the date and time. For Gil Montague, for their teachers at the middle school, high school, obviously the language will also suggest that they view it ahead of time, and will put to them that their opportunity will be in the theater on May 23rd. So we have to tailor it, I think, a little bit. The alternative to that is that you have one letter, it's a little longer, and you have, here's what Pioneer's doing, here's what Gil Montague's doing. But I don't really know if that's necessary. Because it's not much, it's a form letter, and we're just changing the very end of it. In terms of the letter, as I mentioned, Karen did a good job with the bullet points, but there was. I started with the parent letter that asked permission with the students as the basis. And because that seemed to work real well, and we got parents to agree to have their kids not only visit the schools, but to participate. So that language is common in all three letters that I had word letters, not bulleted. And there was a paragraph at the beginning of well, let me back up. At the meeting, you approved a letter. Did you approve the parent letter? Or did you approve, so you approved the parent letter?
Yes.
Okay. So let me focus on the parent letter for a minute. You had an opportunity to look at the paragraph that I had put in that I thought was pretty important in the beginning of the parent letter.
Which
I
part?
went through and I matched up the letter to each one of the bullets to see if the point was made, and it was really good. Karen did a good job at capturing those, and my concern is that the beginning of the parent letter that I had written really created, I thought, a little more sense of urgency in the terms of beginning the letter with, the purpose of the communication, send an invitation and so forth. For your convenience, several possible dates, that's fine. And then it went into the link and sharing research. But we want their idea. I didn't like the word thoughts. When I was drafting that, I thought about that. We're really looking for their ideas, and the ideas would be what is, what might work, what might not work. To me, the word thoughts is like a feeling word. What are your thoughts about this?
Well,
I think it leads more to a good idea or not.
So we're talking about your paragraph right now, right? Your thoughts? We asked for input.
Yes.
We asked for, in that first sentence, we asked for their input.
Let me find yours. Here we go. So so we encourage your input. We are writing to encourage your input. So we encourage your input on student. The part about the urgency of why it is important was a little more direct in my letter in terms of your feedback is critical before this decision is made. I think, Karen, you may have put that at the end of your letter.
Yes, yes.
Don't know. Can you read because I've read them all so many times now. You end it with, you were invited to one or more of the parent forums, do not feel limited. So that was from the other one. We look forward to your input. It doesn't get to the point that we are making a decision and their input is critical in helping us in our research to make that decision. And that was the link that I was trying to make, that they're
Do you have
helping us in our
suggested wording,
research
Alan?
to make a decision.
Okay,
Pardon?
look under the first bullet point of recent. Your feedback
Of
helps.
research?
Yes. Recent. Go to the first bullet point under recent,
I'm there.
We-
Yep,
okay? We talk about sharing all that
That was the-
information,
yep.
soliciting feedback, and that the feedback helps to direct our work. That is directly from your paragraph, one paragraph you had, that wording. As we complete our remaining research and outreach.
Right. And I would like it to say, before we make a recommendation. I would like them to know that we value what they're going to be offering. And we're going to consider that seriously before we make a recommendation. It's
Okay, that-
sprinkled here and there, but that, yeah,
Okay, that is also the final sentence in the second paragraph. Your feedback as parents and guardians in this process is crucial, especially since we are close to making a recommendation.
which bullet is that, Karen?
It's not a bullet. There is a paragraph above the first set of bullets, and it's the last sentence there. Your feedback as parents
Yeah,
and
I see
guardians.
it.
So that incorporates what you're talking about. And I think it's early enough in the letter that it will become apparent. But just my thought in setting that first sentence by itself would make clear why they should read the rest of the letter.
So I make a note, I made a notation of that. I circled it and I said, that should be right after the 3 or 4 years. That should be, that sentence should be at the very top.
Well, I just disagree, that's all. So,
Yeah. Your feedback as a parent and guardian in this process is crucial. It's telling them right up front. But I'm not gonna argue the point. I spent a lot of time doing these letters, so if the board is happy with them, that's fine.
Alan, do you want to propose a change specifically? You want to move that sentence from the end of the second paragraph to the end of the first paragraph? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I think my personal perspective is that's the urgency that is created when they know why we need their feedback. Because we're close to making a recommendation. If I read that in the beginning of it, I'd be going, whoa, I think I better go. I don't know much about this. It sounds like I should read the rest of the letter. I should find out what's going on. There's a lot of text, a lot of sentences you read before you get to that. That's all. And it was mentioned by someone, which is why we kind of move things around, that we wanted to have something that grabbed people and let them know this is something you should be paying attention to.
yeah,
So we
I-
have the sentence there.
Well, personally, I don't have a problem with moving it, although I would take out the word especially.
I thought I
Yeah,
would
that's-
put the final parent letter up, just so that we're all looking at the same document.
Good idea, Greg.
my only problem with it is recommendation for what? And that's all explained before that in that paragraph. Who are we?
Now it
Wh-
will be,
Why are we making a recommendation? And that's why I think we should keep it where it is. I think the first sentence as it is will be enough to get people to read, what's this about?
Why don't we put it in bold?
Right,
There you
that would work.
Which is standard.
And just make it a space. So it's a sentence by itself.
Good idea.
Yep, That's good.
Space it after the 6 towns, just add another space.
Mhm.
There you go. Then it stands out.
Yep, that's good.
That works.
Are we bothered by the fact that recommendations may be plural? We're saying making a and then recommendation.
Yeah, we are, but I'm bothered by that.
Well, I think we had been in conversations about, there was the potential of making more than one recommendation.
So take out
Right.
a,
So I think it's okay to have it in there. Or-
Yeah, and you could put parentheses around the S.
It already is,
It is there.
Oh, I don't see it. Okay.
right here.
Oh, yeah, I see it there. I don't see it in the sentence before that. Ultimately make a recommend, oh, you crossed that out. Ultimately make a recommendation to the 6th town. I thought that's where you were.
Yeah, I'd say we could, I mean, just call it a recommendation. I think we will make as many recommendations as we think is appropriate when the time comes.
You-
I'm not sure anyone's
Why
gonna
don't
go
we-
back and call us on
Yeah.
So you
this,
want
but
to,
I just,
why don't we just make a recommendation? Because a recommendation may be a couple of options.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Recommendation.
This is somebody who wants to be in your meeting.
hello? Okay, okay, I will do that. Thanks.
We'll take- They trying to get in?
Yeah, it was Deb Loomer. Could you send her a link? She's been trying to get in.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Thank you.
Check the agenda or?
Okay, so
Take this with you when you go.
So I guess as a formality, we need to, do we need to vote to approve the amended letter, or is it
Yeah.
yes,
the change?
Yes.
yes.
Mhm.
Now, having said that, remember that there's going to be some additional information
Right,
inserted at the end of this letter.
right.
Well, I
with-
mean, yeah, do we, at this, since we're making changes, do we want to go up and remove the words header here? An alternative letter,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
alternate letter to
right.
parents?
Yes.
Yep.
An alternative.
Are we
Alternative.
gonna have a header?
Well, Alan
Oh, we-
had one on his. I don't have the wherewithal, I guess, to do 6-town regional planning board, towns of Berniston, Gill, Montague, Northfield, Warwick.
Yeah.
You want to put that on the top, I guess.
Yeah, Greg, so you can just put that up there.
I will.
Okay,
Okay.
and then I think there was some additional stuff at the end. Is that what you're talking
Yeah.
about, Alan?
Yes.
Yeah, but we don't have to wordsmith that. It's the arrangements that have been made.
Well, I just hope I mean, I've seen letters go out with stuff that people thought was gonna be changed in my past life.
If you
So
wanna write what I said,
it
Mike,
can be
and add it
dangerous
to
to
the
say, oh
letter.
yeah, we'll fix that up later, and then something
Yeah.
goes out and it wasn't fixed. So whatever we can fix now would be good, I think.
Yeah, I
think-
agree.
Yeah, I agree with that, absolutely. And then I'll have to, so, oh, this is the parent letter, so we don't, so at the end of this one, we'll
Mhm.
have the, since we're inviting them to attend any one, they're not limited, we'll have the schedule.
Right.
Well, but here's the thing, we'll have the schedule as best as we know it. Because the parent for the middle school, high school is going to be that evening on May 17th. I'm hoping that we will have the other two parent meetings, three meetings. Looks like we've got one already, so 2 more at elementary schools in Gill Montague District, and then 2 parent meetings in the Pioneer District. And I would like someone to reach out to the principals now that we've locked in at least maybe 3 meetings to reach out to the principals to see when it would be a good time to meet in the evening in their school, and then we can fill out a use of facility form and figure out how that's gonna work for them.
Well,
So Deb,
Alan, are you saying
is
that
Deb
information?
Loomer on now?
What's that?
Deb, are you on now? Is she in? I can't see her.
No, give me a second. I'm sorry. I was trying to make those changes and I kind of forgot about Deb. Sorry, Deb. I'm coming.
Okay, yeah, I mean,
Alan, this letter has to go out soon for the 17th.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, that's why we're doing it right now.
Yeah, but you don't have all the dates.
No, and that's what I was saying. We're going to have to, there's gonna be, there may not be all the dates included in this letter. The letter has to go out ASAP.
Can
So
we
if in
include a
the
link
next-
to, can we include a link to our website that will have the dates and say, please, look up our website for the dates to come, just to get it out there and that's not missing information?
I just put a link in at the end, but we might want to move that up.
Yeah,
So I
the
was
question
thinking,
is,
today is
for-
Wednesday. I was thinking, since today is Wednesday, that the next couple of days, if Deb Loomer, when she gets in, I was gonna ask her if she could reach out to the two elementary principals in Sheffield and what's the other one? Hillcrest? Reach out to those principals to see what date we could do an evening for the parents. And see when we would coordinate when we would meet with the teachers as close after school as possible in their school. And then we do the parent meeting there. So that would cover that. And we should be able to get a date within the next couple of days, I would think, with the principals. Because once we know when the staff's going to meet, and we do it right after school as soon as possible. It's a voluntary, obviously, but it's an opportunity for them to share. And then in the evening, and then we would do the same thing. I was going to ask someone to volunteer to reach out to the two elementary principals. Since the teachers are already done, it's just a matter of securing a couple of dates in the evening for the parents at Berniston and Pioneer. So I would think in the next 3 or 4 days, we could nail that down and just insert that information in our letter and then get that out. It's still
Yeah,
only May 3rd.
Do we already know how we're gonna get the letter out?
All right, so in my communication with Chris Barnes, he said, you get me the link and I'll send it out to the teachers, and you send me the letter and I'll get that out to the teachers. This is
the
the teachers
teachers?
at the middle school, high school,
I'm talking about the
middle school,
parents,
high school,
talking about the parents now.
right? And then I sent a thing to Brian asking, would he be willing to send the letter out, or should the principal send it out to the parents of the respective schools? I had a couple emails back and forth with Patricia, and sharing the thought of what we're doing. She talked to administrative council. She arranged the date for the teachers, and she knows that we're planning the evening at Pioneer. I haven't, and then I sent an email saying, how best do we get the letter out to the parents? Would you do that? Could we use the listserv where you send it out? Would you have the principal send it out? So that logistic is still being worked on, but obviously I think it needs to go through the administration, through the district to the parents. And I offered to craft a little language ahead of time that this is from the Sixth-Town Regional Planning Board, in an effort to present information to get ideas about the work that we're doing. So that's how I'm hoping that we're going to get the letter out to the parents. I don't see any other way to do it expeditiously, and it would make sense for that to happen that way. So I will continue to follow up, Karen, on conversations. I'm thinking that's not going to be an issue. So I'm going to be optimistic that I don't think that will be a problem. So if So Deb, you're just coming in. I've been volunteering you to see if you were, Greg already reached out to the guild principal to arrange a meeting on the 18th with the teachers, and in the evening at some point, maybe earlier in the evening, or with parents. And Pioneer for all their teachers is on March 17th. No,
May,
March 23rd,
May.
right after school. I mean, May, God, I'm tired. May 23rd at 3:30. And that's for all teachers. And then we'll have a parent meeting for middle school, high school that evening. And we have to arrange for a meeting in the respective schools, Northfield and Berniston, and fill out a use of facilities and put that out there for an evening meeting. So those are the dates you should keep in mind. The Great Turners Falls and Turners Falls Middle School, High School, they're on May 17th at 2:30 in the afternoon. So we've got some lockdown dates finally that work with Mary. Mary had offered the 9th and the 10th, which that's too early now, but the week of the 15th and the 22nd. So those are the windows that we're trying to fit this in. So it could all be done before June.
So do you
All right.
plan doing the Great Falls Middle School and Turners Falls High School parents on the night of the 17th?
Correct. And then we need, and Greg has taken care of Gil, we're just nailing that down. And then if you could do the 2 elementary schools, when we could meet with parents, teachers and parents. So preferably teachers in the afternoon, Brian suggested as close to the end of the day as possible in their respective school. And then that evening, we would do, we would do the parents. It put up May 18, teachers and staff at, what did it say? 3:35, went down too fast. And parents, we
3:20,
have some custodians,
3:25 and 6 p.m.
and then that's the parents. When are the parents?
3:25 for teachers, 6 p.m. for parents.
Thank you, thank you. Because their custodians leave at 7, so theirs is a little bit earlier.
That is for Gil, right? So 6 to 7 is Gil for the parents. Is that what you meant?
So we just need the other 2 elementaries.
So Alan, are you saying Mary ideally would want to do something that evening of the 23rd since she's at Northfield talking to the staff? You want someone to check with, we want 2 separate ones, one at Northfield and one at Berniston?
Yes.
I can check with Northfield if I know the dates and times.
So I think we're talking about May 23rd. She's there talking to the faculty at 3:30. And so I would think ideally for her, if one of the buildings is available May 23rd in the evening for the parents. I'm not sure. She says she's available any
Okay.
other evening that week. Is that
All right,
true?
so I guess I confused things. So on the 23rd, when she's meeting with the Pioneer, with the whole district, all the teachers, we were going to have in the evening, that evening, for the middle school and high school parents.
Okay.
And then we would try to find a date for the evening, another date
And I love you.
for the elementary in their respective schools.
Within that week or after that
When
week?
do you think you could do it? Probably. Well, she's available the week of the 22nd and the 15th and the 22nd. I would think that it would have to be after the 20. The idea behind it is when we have the parent meeting, we want to share what we heard from the teachers.
So it'd have to be afterwards.
Yeah. Karen, you're on mute.
Okay, well, then it would have to be after the 23rd.
Yeah, it would have to be that next week.
That same week, you could do it,
That'd be great.
24, 25.
It's gonna be I can't remember, there is a or a spring carnival that PTO is really deeply involved in that week. I think it's a week before Memorial Day, or whatever that Saturday is. So, you know,
Yeah.
that might be problematical getting a lot of parents. I don't know. Might not be either. But we can try it and see.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So Mary said any evening, I know she travels from a distance. Is there a way to get
Yeah.
her like at 5 o'clock at one school and
Yeah,
6:30
that
at
would,
the other?
yeah, that would be the
I mean,
smartest
That'd be
thing.
great.
That's just, but maybe
That
not.
would
Maybe
be
she-
good. Renee, what do you think about having the parents invited to, you know, a location either in one of the elementary schools or at the high school and invite both the parents of both of the elementary schools and to a sort of a joint meeting, I guess, of the parents. I don't know.
It
Yeah, I mean,
sounds
that would
good. But
feel an efficient use of time if it could be billed, but wouldn't be the same as now we're doing at Gil Montague, but I can see the efficiency of billing it as any parent of any child at any age come on the 23rd in the evening to just, you know, see this
Right.
presentation. Northfield is kind of a central location for our district. For instance, go there for, you know, I don't know, just seems like I think you're going to get the same amount of people either way, but that's just my thought.
All right, so you're saying, are you saying, Renee, that if we're gonna meet with the parents of the middle school, high school on the 23rd after the teachers, that maybe we should just be inviting all the parents in the district, including elementary parents?
That's
Is that
what
what you're
I'm
saying?
saying. I don't know if the representatives from Gil Montague feel like we're doing it separate, you know, not the same way. So they want to be consistent. And we talked about, you know, people being most comfortable in their home schools and things. But I just think the busyness of that week, that's the week before Memorial Day and the
Mhm.
spring baseball
agree.
games and everything that,
lot of
like, to
stuff.
spread them too thin. And if they have siblings anyway, or who knows. But
Yeah, May is the busiest month for school.
Yeah,
I agree. I think that's a good plan.
I think,
Get them all at Pioneer.
I'd say go for it.
Yeah, and some may
Yeah.
have students in two schools. Certainly.
Right.
yeah.
I guess the only caveat would be to, you know, make sure we're pushing the information to the elementary schools as much as we are to Pioneer to make sure they understand they're welcome and it's a forum
Right.
that's applicable to all ages because
Right.
it's a future thinking project. So like it's, you know, everybody should feel welcome and
Right.
that they would have something to offer to the process.
And Mary should just be aware to moderate it, to not have like 7 through 12 take over elementary parents, you know? She can
Mhm.
moderate it well.
Yeah, yeah.
She can balance.
And we could do 2 meetings in Gil Montague. We could keep the Gil Elementary School meeting and then do a district-wide meeting in Montague. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
No.
I mean, my question would be is, we don't know, you have the staff from the high school and the middle school meeting on the 17th, but we don't know when Sheffield and Hillcrest faculty are going to meet because Gil Montague does not have an all district for all their staff. So that would be and they might even have 2 separate days for all I know. So that would just be the question of if the faculty of Sheffield and Hillcrest are going to meet before the 17th, then yes, I'd say let's just do the parents' night on the 17th. But if the elementary schools are going to meet, we'll say on the 19th or the 20th, and we talked about having the parents. I would attempt to get, obviously, the Sheffield and Hillcrest parents to get together, even though the faculty might be separate. The question would be,
Deb,
yep,
I just want to, so you don't spend too much time on something that, in your effort when you were trying to get in, you weren't aware that, Brian had said there's no more staff meetings available. But Chris Barnes has arranged for one with his staff as close to after school as possible. So the middle school and high school are meeting in the theater at 2:35. He suggested that the other meetings, because there's no staff meetings left, be held as close as possible to after school. He said you could combine the elementaries perhaps, or go to their respective, schools. I'm thinking we'd have a better turnout. So that means that we'll probably have a presentation to each one of the elementary schools, or we could have a presentation if you were to talk to the principals to see how they felt about having a staff meeting in one of the schools, and the staff for both elementaries, would participate in a staff meeting that Mary leads, not a staff meeting, I'm sorry, in an after-school volunteer meeting, as close to after school as possible, and Mary could lead that with the two staffs for each
and
of the
obviously
elementary
that's
schools.
not a mandatory meeting then.
Right, these are voluntary meetings. I'm
Okay.
not sure how Chris is able to do this. Bill, you could probably clear this up for me. When Brian said there's no more staff meetings, available, and then Chris said, how do you want to do it? I thought he said, well, I can do it at a staff meeting. I can give you 20 minutes and I'm going to do the middle school, high school together. I was under the impression, and then he was going to meet, the rest, for whatever the time is with the staff. Are both out of school, and do they have, if they have their staff meetings, kind of right after school, and that's the hour they spend or whatever?
Yeah. They do it after school. They don't do it during school, and they certainly don't come back later. So you either catch them when they're there or you don't. And the same is true of so all you're doing is looking at when is the end of the school day. Those are the times that were just given to you. It's 3:15 for the elementaries and a little earlier for the high school. So
Alan, they meet on separate days, but my guess is what Chris is doing is he's telling one of the schools, instead of meeting on the 24th, we're going to meet all on the 17th. So that's my guess, unless it was already planned like that. But normally they would have two separate meetings.
I think it's planned like that.
it doesn't
I
matter.
asked him-
He's offered it. So that's what it is. I mean.
Yep.
I'm not questioning it any longer. It's
Right.
not a good conversation at this point.
What do you want to do with Irving?
So I think I'd ask you to do is reach out to the elementary principals and see whether or not they're amenable to having the staff at the end of the day have one presentation that Mary does with both staffs from the two elementary schools, or if they felt that it's better to have the presentation after school in their respective schools with the staff. And then that would, in any case, that would have to be followed either by a joint parent meeting, if they decided the teachers are doing it together in the evening, following on that same date, or it would go down the path of this school is having it with their staff in the afternoon, and at night, there'll be a thing for those parents, and then we'll repeat that.
No, I
For the
understand
others.
that. What I'm asking is Irving's a different entity than Hillcrest and Sheffield, which are the two elementary schools in the Gil-Montague school district. Irving is another separate elementary school. So, which is a totally different school district. Their elementary school. So it isn't like that, they're going to arrange it. So all I'm asking is, are you going to have, or do you want me to try to arrange a separate meeting for the Irving Elementary School teachers if their principal, can arrange it, and then their parents?
Yes. The short answer is we need to do, I just haven't gotten to this. We need to have a presentation to their school committee. They would like to see the PowerPoint and be able to understand this. And then try to set up the same way where we meet with the staff and in the evening with their parents to see what their thoughts are, what their ideas are. So that's a yes. And no, I haven't done anything on Vernon yet. I'm just trying to get that information. That's something that can be done later. I'm trying to focus on the 2 districts right now and what we have. So, Raina, are you, who, or Pat, who?
Yeah.
Did someone volunteer to reach out to the principals? You know the 2 paths you
I-
can follow.
I volunteered, I just, yeah. So.
Thank you.
We shall just ask them if we will have a joint meeting at Pioneer for all parents?
For all
Correct?
parents,
Okay,
correct. And what their thoughts are about that, and if, do they feel there'd be better participation, and we should schedule something in the evening sometime in their respective schools?
that would be on the 23rd.
I
No,
think
the
if we're using the
23rd, she's tied up.
23rd,
Okay,
it has to be Pioneer.
Yeah,
23rd, she's at Pioneer for the middle school, high school. If we're
Right.
going down,
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I
Didn't-
think that we say that that's what we wanted to do.
yeah, we
said
want
all together,
all
Alan,
together, yeah,
on the
on the
23rd.
23rd. Yeah.
yeah,
At,
all
at
the,
what time?
Right.
6, 7,
6, I would say.
6?
Uh,
What do people say?
I said earlier, but I don't know. Jennifer, what do you think?
I would say, I think 6 is great. That way kids come home, we can get them settled and go back out, but that's just my opinion.
And
All
do you
right.
think, I'd like to hear from a parent, actually. Do you think it's a good idea to have elementary and 7 through 12 together, parents?
I do, just because if you're an elementary school parent, you're not gonna know the questions that might affect your child as they go through the school system. And so I think hearing what parents of the high school, middle school would have to say, their thoughts, I think could be really helpful. So I think a group one would be most beneficial.
Sounds good.
all right, so May 23rd at 3:30 are all teachers, and in the evening at 6 is all parents, right? We got that squared
Mhm.
away?
yeah.
And
Now
then
you just
we
need
have,
to have Patricia or whoever push that to parents as soon as possible.
Mhm.
Now, who's reaching out for the 3:30 meeting? Is that already been set?
that's that.
Okay, all right. That's what I
Because I
thought,
had
but
to clear these dates with, I had to clear these dates with Mary. So once they told me, but then I had to reach to Mary to see when, and then I had to go back to the only thing that hasn't been nailed down, the next piece is having the district send out the parent letter.
So Alan, let me
'Cause
ask
I
you this
think-
then, because time is getting shorter, and if we want to try to do a combined meeting for Gil Montague with elementary, is Mary available on May 15, 16?
Yeah,
She's available on the 15th and she's available on the 16th.
she said the week of the 15th. Is that Monday?
Okay.
Mhm.
Just want to
Yep.
check.
No, how come, I got the week of the 6th, yeah, the 15th is Monday, so yes.
But your idea was to have the meeting for the parents after the teachers' meeting, which is the 17th.
Right. So I'm hoping though I can get the Hillcrest and the Sheffield staffs to get together maybe on the 15th or 16th. So that all the staffs will be taken care of by the 17th. So by the night of the 17th, Gil Montague could do the same thing and have one parent night for all the schools. Except Gil.
That'd be lovely.
I was gonna say,
That would be lovely.
Gil's scheduled for the 18th, though.
Right, so, but you're gonna do it's doing their own thing, so that'll be okay.
Well, I mean, we can also send out the invitation to Gil parents to give them an option. Some might not be able to make the 17th.
I
Yeah,
might be happy to have an alternative.
All right.
Well, that would be in our letter. I think we talked about that, that now, if we have these all nailed down, then it could say, you know, there'll be a parent meeting, you know, on the 17th, another one on the 18th, another one on the 23rd. I mean, they don't have to go to the one in their district. They could attend any one of the three.
Which
I
it
just thought,
says.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Which is what the letter says. So, you know, we're being consistent there. My original thinking was parents would more likely attend with like parents in their elementary school. Their comfort level might be a little better in sharing, because they're, you know, they're close-knit community. The parents know each other, and they might, you know, they might express more than when you get into a larger group with different folks. I don't know, you may not. So that was just the human side of is the way I was looking at it, for greater participation. But I'm willing to go with this. It's if this is the direction of everybody, then this is what we'll try. Now, another thing I wanted to put out to folks, and I talked to Mary a little bit, but it'd be nice if a couple people got together, and it wouldn't take long to just get a survey of like 4 or 5 essential questions that people could fill out when they're at the meeting, of the most important things we want to know. And we just ask those 4 or 5 questions, and they get to, you know, check off, and that's another way of getting information, particularly if someone isn't comfortable sharing in a larger group.
Can that be included in the letter? I know there's surveys that get sent out via the superintendent or principal. Is that something, that way we can have answers and ahead of time, or questions ahead of time?
Well, I want to have the quick, oh, you mean in the letter, or what do you mean?
Yeah, so that the letter says, hey, it's really important for your input. Would love to, you know, see you. If you have any questions, you know, you can feel free to add them ahead of time.
I think they won't know enough at that point. And I think we need to judge, did they find out what they wanted to find out from the forum?
Okay.
Well,
So the
that's my
question-
point, Karen.
Yeah.
It was an exit survey. I was thinking of an exit survey so we could learn from that. It would be more around, did you find the presentation helpful?
Right.
Did you get
Oh,
your
at the end.
questions, you know,
Okay.
answered?
I thought it was like going in. What are
Yeah.
your questions? Okay, got it.
No. I was thinking of an exit interview so we could get some feedback. Is there something else you wanted to know or to learn? And we put 4 or 5 questions together like that on a index card, and people could just check off the boxes and do that. The question is, I would be willing to brainstorm with 2 or 3 people if you want to come up with those, including Mary, to just come up with some things, or I can just work with Mary, or someone can volunteer to work with Mary and I. Greg?
Yeah, I don't think they have to be very detailed. I think the questions you want to ask are, you know, what do you see as the you know, the greatest challenges or the greatest benefits? What questions do you still have? Keep it very simple so that they can
Right.
fill in.
Yeah.
And it doesn't need to be, you know, highly detailed. The other question
How
is,
about you and I and Mary? Just come up with 4 or 5 different things we'd ask. And if any board members have a question that you think is really important, that you think would be helpful, send it to Greg in the next 2 or 3 days.
the other thing, Alan, is are we directing the parents to the PowerPoint presentation like we are with the teachers, so that
I think we should, yes, it should be in the letter, should be in the
Yeah.
parent letter. I thought I added, I read
fine, I just
an
want.
insert.
Yeah.
We talked about it with the teacher. I just want to make sure that we are also doing it with the parents. Okay.
Yeah, in the parent letter I had, to assist you in preparing for a forum, you will find a link below that will bring you to the PowerPoint presentation.
Yep.
So that's what would be added to the parent letter.
Yeah, and as long
And that would also be in the teacher letter.
yeah, that's fine. I just want to make sure that we're doing that. Okay.
And then we would have all the dates. So if everybody can pull this off by Monday, that gives us enough time. And I will check with the disseminators at the district level on, hopefully they'll agree to send this out. I don't know why they wouldn't, to the parents in the district.
Yeah, I would think if we're, I mean, if
And,
we're okay on dates and times and letters and links right now, I think we should, I mean, we're already at 7:36. I think we should move on in the agenda.
Yeah, Yeah.
Just moving, because we got to get to,
Yep.
you know, the RFQ and a few other things.
All right, so we had approved we're done with the parent letter. Now, where did you leave it on the teacher letter? Did you actually vote on the teacher letter?
We did not, but
I'm not thinking you did.
It's pretty much the same.
we did not vote on the teacher letter, but I think we left it, we kind of ran out of time and I think we didn't have a quorum at the end. So we couldn't vote on it, but it's very similar to the parent letter. I think, you know, if we are okay with the how it is in general, then if there's if there's a particular way you want to put it into context, Alan, I don't know if you had the same sort of concerns about the teacher letter that you did with the parent letter.
No, I didn't. The only thing that I had in that was I didn't like in the second bullet, the word "hear your thoughts and concerns." I like the word "idea" better. And the last bullet on the first one under recent 1, 2, 3 for the fifth bullet, it says "want them to emerge from students."
it says theme.
No,
Mike.
one theme. It says one theme to emerge. Is that what
Yes.
you want, or do you want one theme that emerged, ED? One theme that merged from student working groups? Karen,
Well,
you with me?
Yeah, if you think that's better.
And then the other thing was to put in the language for it will be helpful to review the PowerPoint slides prior to our meeting. Say our meeting, that would be with the staff. And then that goes on for Pioneer. Arrangements have been made for the high school. So we can just take whatever what we just talked about the plan for the teachers and for the parents that evening. And then I had
Alan, do you want to move that last sentence in the first part? Your feedback as faculty and staff is crucial, like we did in the
Yeah, I mean, set
Parent-
it off, set it off.
set it off, yeah.
Yeah. I think that's a good
yes.
idea.
Yes.
And then there's just one, the first sentence input. I'm sorry, I'm bringing it back up now. It just looks like there's a character instead of a letter.
Oh, yeah. That sentence.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And why do we have why do we have the lines and the exclamation and all that stuff after the end there? So we would get rid of that. We will have the header. We'll just do the header like we did before. And
okay, so if that says your students' educational choices for the next 3 or 4 years, if this is for the teachers or for the
Yeah,
staff, you're
Right.
not gonna want that.
Yeah.
right,
Wait, why not?
I think it would be okay if
I'm trying to find.
Uh,
Yeah.
if you're speaking about their students, in which case you would put the apostrophe after the S.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it just, the way it's written doesn't read right.
Yeah, and it's
What
gonna
if-
affect more than, if we're talking to faculty and staff, it's gonna affect more than just their students too.
Yeah,
The
Presumably it'll
district-
affect them.
district's educational choices.
No, yeah,
Wait, what are we doing here?
They affect the educational choices within the next or,
I would say your district's educational.
yep,
A student.
Wait, we're taking out what, students?
Yeah, and changing with districts.
What?
And you guys can kibosh it. I have a hard time with choices. Opportunities feels better, but I know that you guys went over it and over and over. When I read that, especially from the parent letter, my students' educational choices.
Opportunity.
I like opportunities.
Yeah. I do
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, I do too.
that looks
Well,
better. to
I-
me.
Yeah, I will just have to pass. For some reason, I can't find my letter, but you had it that I originally had to the staff, so you know what I had in there. I had points, specifically for the staff. I agreed with Karen on a lot of some of the things I put in there. We didn't need, but we need to move forward. So, do we need to take a vote so we're consistent on the parent letter, understanding we're going to have some inserts for the logistics?
Greg, first paragraph, last sentence. Your feedback.
Yeah.
We're gonna put that separate like we did before. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
And it was in bold. Yep.
Yeah.
Can I just add one more thing and just tell me to shut up?
No,
So
go
may
on.
affect district's educational opportunities within the next 3 to 4 years. It's actually detrimental for the years to come for the district, any district. And so just to make it more advantageous and, teachers wanted to stay and staff wanted to stay, I would just say for the years to come, because no matter what happens, there's going to be
Yep.
an impact.
I agree.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like that.
One final nitpick that Essen, oh, okay, it's gone.
Hold on, I'm just gonna put it in here. I think we should change it in the parent letter too.
Yeah, opportunity, yeah.
and I still go back down to, I don't know if you change this under the second bullet that says times that these forums will be reserved to hear I really would like it to say ideas and concerns, not thoughts and concerns.
Thank you.
I don't know where you are, Alan.
Under recent?
You're on the teacher, under recent, second bullet, very last few words. Hear your ideas and concerns.
Yeah.
Back up to what's now the third paragraph, your feedback, beginning your feedback. That last S and apostrophe there.
Mhm.
Mike, you had made a suggestion that take out the word especially. Is that already gone in this one?
No, it's still there.
Oh, no, that's right. Good point. Thank you.
All right, going once, going twice. People have other.
Great.
So if on Monday we can have the dates or how that's going to roll out and for the teachers and parents and the times for Mary, that will be inserted into the parent letter for parents and teacher letter for teachers.
And that
I'm
will
not gonna have
give
a
them,
parent letter, but, okay,
Right.
okay, we're clear. All right, good job. So, Pat, thank you. You're gonna take care of the elementary
Yep.
principals. And
I will.
that, and I will reach out to see if the parents' letters can go home with through the district. Deb's reaching out to the elementary principals.
Alan, just real
Yeah.
brief. I've been texting with someone who works in the system, and Hillcrest and Sheffield meet tomorrow as staff separately. So their next meeting won't be until June 1st. So it would be certainly on a voluntary basis.
Right.
Yeah, Yeah.
So I just want to toss that
We
out.
understand that.
They won't meet again until June 1st.
Yeah, this isn't gonna be a staff meeting, a part of a staff meeting now at this point. It's really as close to the end of the day as possible. It's volunteer
Yep.
and they want to contribute or not. That's up to them.
Yep.
I don't mean
Renee?
that in a mean way, I just,
Okay, Renee, could you take care of Berniston since you're right in there every day?
I'm sorry to be confused, but what are we asking the principals if their meeting is at Pioneer? Why does it affect elementaries? I guess I'm lost. Like, just to get the information to the people?
That's the only thing I can think of.
yeah.
Sorry, I didn't hear. So we're just making them aware that there's going to be forthcoming information from the Six-Town Committee that they can please put in their newsletters?
I would think that
No,
would,
send
that,
it out in an
well-
email as soon as possible.
that they could just get get the information out to their parents and staff.
Mhm.
Okay,
Renee,
sure
you
that-
know what, Renee, I'm gonna take that off your plate.
Okay.
Renee, I think I'll take that off your plate because I would like Patricia
Yeah.
to be involved to make that decision and say either, no, I'll send it out as the superintendent to
Okay.
everybody. Or I will have the principals send it out, but I would like her to, weigh in on how she would like that
Okay.
to happen.
So
So,
So we don't really have a role, Pat, because they're not going to use the facility. So I think. the
yeah,
role-
that's why I was checking to see. So, Alan, are you gonna speak to Patricia? Do you want me to, or
Oh.
Renee to, or,
Would
I
you-
mean, who's doing it?
If you would like to, that'd be great, Pat.
I
She's
don't have any
probably,
problem. I just want to make sure I know what I'm doing or what I'm not doing.
so what you're doing is saying that the planning board has decided that it
Okay.
might be best just to, since we're having the teachers all come together, have the parents all come together
Okay.
that evening and to get the
Alright.
use of facility form and then say, how best could we get that parent letter out? We're assuming you'll send it out to all of the staff in the district, but would you like the principals to send the parent letter out or would you like to do that? That would be terrific, Pat.
Okay,
So
But
Al, you
I
do,
really think it's important she weighs in on that and is in control of, I'll do it or let's have them do it.
so Alan, are you doing that with Brian? And asking him to send it out as a superintendent to the entire district? Are you asking individual principals to send letters to their parents and their staff?
All right. In terms of the teachers, Chris said, get me the link, get me the letter for teachers. I'll send it out. Okay, so I take that. In terms of the other teachers, we'll have to, I would think we'd ask the principals if they could send it out. And Brian's only comment, because he's away for the week, he's at a conference. Brian's suggestion was try to arrange it after school as close as possible. At the end of the day for the teachers, either in their respective schools or bring the schools together. So with that said, I would say we'd ask the principals to send that letter out to their staffs.
Yeah. Who's sending out the parent letter?
And I haven't talked. Yeah, ask the principals if they could send it out.
So you're gonna ask Chris if he's gonna send out parent letters to the middle school and the high school.
He's already agreed.
to the
Oh, no, the
two.
staff letters.
No,
Alan, I thought you said earlier that Brian Beckett agreed to send out the parent letters district-wide. But I don't know. I thought you said that earlier in the meeting. No?
I hope not.
Okay, I'm just
Might
kidding.
have been,
I may have heard you wrong, but okay.
So
but
if that-
I guess, give me the homework assignment. You want me to call Brian and ask which is the best way to send out, well, he's not in.
Well, I think wouldn't Joanne know?
We're talking about Pioneer's all taken care of.
okay,
Talking about Gil Montague. Wouldn't Joanne
right.
know Brian's gone?
I have to go in tomorrow morning to sign some paperwork, so I'll find out.
Yeah, it would be
Alright.
nice if he could send it district-wide. I think that would be the best approach.
Right, maybe an email. Bill, I think he's away at a conference this week. So however you can get an email or maybe Tara could communicate with him. That would be great, Bill, to, could he send out the parent letter?
Yeah.
To the, that'd be.
Yeah,
great.
that's
Thanks,
all
Bill.
I'll ask. I'm sure they will.
So I guess the role, Deb, is yours is a little different, right? In terms of, well, maybe not. No, I think we got a good plan. So let's just leave it at that. We're gonna try to have stuff done on the 15th, 16th. And then everybody comes together on the 17th for parents. And you gotta just figure out, is it what we're, for a meeting with the elementary teachers, you're gonna arrange that. Either a joint one for the two elementary staffs or individual.
Yep.
15th, 16th. Okay. Do you want to take a vote on the letter as we amended and understand again, we're going to be plugging in all this information come Monday, Tuesday?
Yes.
Someone want to make a motion?
I will make a motion that we approve the teacher staff letter with the changes we agreed on and also a few changes back to the parent letter so they are consistent.
I'll second that.
Second? Okay, and for discussion, the only question I have is, we keep saying teachers, 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 but this says dear faculty and staff. What are we doing here? Are we inviting all of the faculty and staff, or are we inviting teachers?
faculty and staff.
Faculty and staff.
So we're telling the principals to send it to all the paraprofessionals, the cafeteria, the custodians, the whole staff in the district. That's who staff is.
I don't think it makes any difference. Let them figure it out.
You have paraprofessionals who are staff, they're not teachers, and they go to their
Yeah.
staff meetings. So we're not necessarily speaking cafeteria, but there are a lot of, the nurse, the librarian, they aren't teachers, but they're staff who go to the meetings.
All right, so you need to be clear, Pat, and who else is doing this? When we say we're sending it out to you can't just say the teachers, we say we'd like you to send it out to all the staff. Right?
All
Yep.
faculty
All faculty.
and staff.
Okay. So we have a motion, we have a second. We ready for a roll call vote? I'm gonna do this fast. We ready? Pat,
yes,
Alan, yes. Lynn? You're on mute.
Come on.
I'll come
Yes,
back. Yeah,
yes,
Jennifer? You're on mute.
Yeah, yep, yes.
Michelle?
Yes,
Bill?
Yep,
Mike?
Yes.
Karen?
Yes,
Deb?
Yep,
Greg?
Yes.
Renee?
Sorry. Yes.
Now I know there's a big time delay because I finish and I wait and then you hear it and then you respond. It's funny. Okay, so that's good. Those are two huge things. And given the time frame, I still feel comfortable that we're okay. It's, the 3rd, and the first one doesn't happen until, well, it could be possibly the 15th. So that's that still gives us a little wiggle room to get it done. And that'll be really helpful. Next, so we did 4, 5, sort of, we did the teacher, but we didn't get into the logistics, phone, well, I think we did. We're just gonna do a letter. Correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, we're not doing the library posters and all that stuff. We're just getting a letter out. And there's nothing that says we can't have follow-up forums if there's an interest and people would like to do this. So let's just start this roll. Now we're on to. All right, the dates there, you already know. So that's the ones we're working around. So I guess we also did that one.
So we're on-
So
we're on-
now we can go to the RFQ,
Yeah,
right?
yes.
Yeah.
So that's 7. Item 7, RFQ. So you received it.
Yes.
I had several conversations with Joanne. Joanne's terrific. I so much enjoy talking with her. So we brainstormed for quite a while of what should be in it, what her thinking was for, how much time, what information. So this, because she put this together, I need to, I had 2 conversations, fairly brief, but I still had them with Jordan at Pioneer, their business administrator, because, they'll have to produce things. So I'm going to, I don't know if you ended up getting the whole budget for Gil Montague. She sent it to me and I ran it off. Greg, was that part of the packet or did you just do the RFQ?
I think I just did the RFQ. Oh, I didn't know.
Okay.
I did the rest of her documents. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, but
It's
it
all-
was long. I did not look at the whole thing. We
Oh,
just,
Oh, you didn't have to.
Yeah, the budget, you don't have to look at the budget. That's fine. I mean, it's there if you
Yeah.
need, if you want, if you're curious.
Yeah, no, that's going to be, now I'll get the other piece from Pioneer, but that's going to be for what she sends out as the packet for
Right.
any of the organizations that have an interest. They can look at the scope of the whole thing and get an idea.
so has
So,
the RFQ been sent out already?
No.
no, that's why it's here today. I told Joanne that we'd get your feedback, if there's any additions or anything, and then, then we'll get it out the door.
Yeah, I
Well,
thought it looked good.
yeah, they're just a few grammatical things.
They are.
Yeah. In the overview, first paragraph.
They're under stress too. And what are they, Karen?
Well, I think in the first paragraph, the third sentence from the bottom, a successful merging of was left out of the 2 pre-existing.
I don't read the public, I read the time. You're in the first paragraph of the overview?
Yeah, that's right.
Right, the third from the bottom sentence.
Right. After the word
What's it start
merging.
with?
It's in the
Salary
middle,
schedule.
salary schedule, yeah.
All right, so create a combined salary schedule. Is that what you're looking?
Further
No,
along
then-
that line.
Further
six-
along,
In the event of a successful merging. Okay, merger. Got it. Okay.
Merging, no,
merging is
merging
fine.
of.
you need
Oh,
of. in there.
merging of.
Right here,
Okay, thank you.
right here.
Got it. Yeah, I got it.
And then in the last sentence of this paragraph,
Yep.
it should say a preliminary and more in-depth analysis has been performed.
Right.
Has, okay,
Get rid of some of
thank
the,
you. Okay. Anything in the second paragraph, Karen?
Um, I don't think so.
I took out the comma after summarize. It's just to summarize the work of the original study, comma.
Yeah, yeah, that, I
Yeah.
saw that too. Thank you. Yeah.
Yep.
Most of it looks pretty good. I've got it in the Google Doc, so it tends to find the grammatical errors too.
Yeah, good. All righty.
That's okay.
Yeah, this is very, very close to the language that we've had in previous ones. And in terms of the overall. She wanted to know if I wanted to give more detail that we did in some of the earlier ones. And I thought about that and went back and looked and I thought, no, I don't think so. I think this is really specific focus and we don't have to get into all the other history of what we're about, what we're doing, what we're trying to do. I think this is good.
Well, I think we could probably guess who's going to bid on it. So
Yeah.
Well, that's the concern I have, and I do have some comments on what's here, which
ahead.
are based in part on feeling that our last experience with the financial consultants was not a good one, and I'd like to see if we can get something. If we're going to spend, we're expecting to spend what, $20,000 on this? Is that the figure?
I'd have to go back and look. It might,
Well, I just like to make sure that we get something worth that, worth whatever we're going to spend.
Mm.
And I'm not sure those guys are capable of doing that, frankly. Under qualifications, the second sentence says components of it says consultants will have experience conducting feasibility study. Components of this will be financial analysis and the development of a proposed educational plan for an expanded K through 12 region. Just to clarify, we are not asking for an educational plan as part of this RFQ, right? Or are we?
That is correct, Mike. And I think that might be a little confusing, the way this is
Yeah,
worded.
so I wonder why it's there.
This was very similar to, as I said a minute ago, so that's a good catch. It's very similar to the RFQ we put out before. So we want them to be have expertise and familiarity with being able to do a financial analysis. But we don't need to have in there the words of a proposed educational plan. Doesn't need that. What we do want them is to have expert financial experience in calculating assessments in the maybe I'll even cite the chapter of the ed reform on how the foundation. Well, we don't really. What we want them to do is be able to take the assessments that we have for both towns and create a budget. Do the calculation for a salary schedule, put that in and replace the schedules that are there because it's going to be more inflated, and then run the different assessments. That's the most important piece that comes out of this. The byproduct would be having a single salary schedule and people on that where they would generally fall. And then that inflates things in terms of the staff for the separate districts if it's combined. And then with that information, they start running the different assessments, the way Pioneer does it, the way Gil Montague does it, the way the statutory, that's what we want them to do.
Okay, Alan. So they
Yeah.
should have experience in merging salaries and benefits for different entities with each other, right? I would include benefits as well, because as far as I'm aware, there's a much higher proportion of the health benefits paid in the Gil Montague district than the Pioneer.
Okay. Fair enough. The only I don't know if, I think we could say preferred, experience preferred with merging salaries and benefits. This is a very unique field. They need to have the expertise, knowledge and skill to be able to do that, even if they haven't done this before, because I don't know how many people out there have ever done this.
Right,
Um,
but they can't just add the two budgets of the two districts together and figure out the basis for assessments, because there will be a pretty significant impact on the budget from equalizing the salaries.
Well, and that's a point I'd like to talk about. Alan, you had talked about, we're kind of looking at two things, and I'd like to have a little more discussion when we say they will merge the salary, and Karen has a good point. We should include benefit schedules. I think we should clarify a little more what we mean by that, because
Yeah,
for one
'cause we
thing, we
need it.
talked about being whole, that people will be held harmless.
Mm,
Nobody will lose under the new schedule,
right,
which I don't think it says. And another point is, several times we've heard in our feedback sessions that Pioneer staff is paid less than Gilmontague staff, and that in fact their level of pay from not just feedback discussions, but I read it in the newspaper, is
mhm,
an issue in Pioneer.
mhm.
Yeah.
So if we're expecting to get a realistic salary schedule for a merged district, it seems to me, and this is sort of a question for our board, it seems to me that we need to go beyond just saying, well, nobody will lose money, and it sort of face the fact that some people should be expecting to get raises, I would think.
Right,
And
Yeah.
I don't know how is that something that we clearly understand? I mean, the consultant coming in is going to say, well, what do you, what's your expectation there? I think, I mean, they're not going to know themselves if they're coming into the district. What, I mean, somebody's got to, if we're going more than just saying, well, whatever you're getting now, this is what you'll get, and there'll be some new
No,
schedule.
Mike,
No one
Mike,
ever said
no.
that. No one ever
No
said
one,
that.
you're making things up, Mike. This is not the road we were going down before. We never had gone down this road. I'll just say it this way. The people will be coming in and they will be getting from each business administrator where their steps in education and so forth, and the amount they're making with names not included. And they will be planting them on an existing salary schedule, which is at Montague, because they are hired, to see where they would fall. Remember, we're doing a projection. This is all going to have to be negotiated, but we're going to do the best we can to get an idea of where they are. And it's important: longevity, their education, and their years of experience. So those are the factors that will help to place them on a schedule somewhere where they might land. That
Okay.
then new schedule takes the place of an existing schedule at the Pioneer School, because they're going to now create one salary schedule in this theoretical district, and then they're going to replace the numbers they had in the budget with these numbers. That obviously is going to be
Is anybody's
budget.
is
For the
anybody's
benefit
schedule going to
piece,
change?
pardon?
Is anybody's salary going to change?
Of course.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Now, I would argue that, and I had this conversation with Joanne, she didn't disagree. I said, let's look at this from a humanistic point of view. The Pioneer teachers, if we were to merge, are going to all do very, very well in terms of what their new money would be. And so this additional work that they are doing, that they're in helping to create this district, they're getting, I'm gonna say extra compensation for doing this. How fair is that to the Gil-Montague teachers? So I threw out the idea, I'm wondering if we should inflate at least the Gil-Montague teacher salary schedule, this is theoretical, at least 1% before we then superimpose. So there's some kind of, effort to maybe move that up a little bit before we do this, we start playing this scenario. In terms of the benefits, you see where people are in their plans, and then you see what the other district has and which plan is closest to the one offered that they might likely remember. We're doing projections and some guessing here, but if they have similar plans, fine. If they have similar benefits, put the teachers from, depends. Now you're looking at both districts, because I don't know, what their plans are, but you list them out there and say, where are they likely to land and which plan? Might be a Pioneer plan. It might be a Gil-Montague plan. So that's the theory behind it. And then with that information, they have a bigger number, obviously, and then they start running assessments to see what they would look like. Joanne had a great idea.
Right. Well,
and said-
look, can we just stay on the salary and benefits side? Because I'm just trying to understand. And I think I hear you saying that essentially everyone will be placed on the Gil-Montague salary schedule because it is more generous than the Pioneer salary schedule. So that,
It'll
then
never
what?
go the other way.
pardon?
I say it will never go. At some point, you have to deal with what's out there, and people are not gonna. Gil-Montague is not gonna go down to, if they're different, whichever
Yeah.
one is lower is not gonna be the one of choice.
Okay, so the consultant will look at each schedule for whatever the qualifications are, the age of years of service and education and all those things, determine which is the higher schedule, the higher, whatever you want to call it, number for that particular characteristic or set of characteristics. And that will be what the new schedule is. I'm just trying to look at this from the point of view of somebody come in saying, okay, what would you like me to do here? And I'm trying to get it clear in my mind, at least generally, what we're asking. So what we're asking is to say, the more for each person, look at each schedule, figure out which one would be better for that person and put them, make that the new schedule and put them there. Is that what we're saying?
That's not what I'm saying. No, that's not what I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm not going to tell them how to do their work. What the end result is this. They're going to look at their longevity. They're going to look at their education. They're going to look at their experience. And then we have the people off the salary schedule, and that's another issue. But they're going to look at all of these things, and then they're going to make a determination of what's the right amount of money. And I'm pretty sure that there's going to be a remediation, or I don't know, whatever the word is, even on the Gil-Montague salary schedule, because there may be things that don't exist and there has to be something in between or something. But I'm going to leave that up to the consultants to come up with.
How are they?
In the end, Mike, it has to be negotiated if we ever go forward. This is a
Yeah, well,
theoretical exercise to try to make sure that we get a better
Alan,
idea.
I guess where I'm coming from is either this schedule produces a number which is believable enough that it can be used to create a budget to then produce assessments that can then be shared with the town so they can see what they might pay. If
Right.
this schedule is way off, because when it comes time for negotiation, the staff says, we don't like this, then it's kind of a wasted exercise. And we will have in
No,
fact
it's
have
not.
created bad information.
It's not.
So, well,
not a
can I-
wasted exercise.
Alan, please, can I just finish? So it seems to me that we can think, I mean, I have doubts that we're going to find a consultant to come in and be like King Solomon and make determinations if we don't have any idea how those determinations are going to be made. So
I can't
I
explain it
think
to
we
you
should at
again,
least have a
Mike.
conversation about what we think. I mean, I've suggested that we say, look at each schedule and pick the higher one for each person. That seems reasonable to me. You're saying, no, that's not the way it's going to work. So, you know, how do you think it's going to work? And I don't want to hear, well, the
I didn't-
consultant's going to figure it out. If you were the
I
consultant, what
didn't
would you
say
do?
that. I'm
I
not
would say that
saying
the
that's not gonna work
consultant is
that way.
100% going to figure it out. There are many regionalized schools in Massachusetts. And if we can pull it back, is that Pioneer Valley, let's pretend it's one school and not regionalized. We're just now regionalizing, let's just for argument's sake. There's, I think, 35 schools in Massachusetts like that. So I would say the person or group who's qualified to do this would absolutely have the means to determine what has been successful in the past and what their recommendations would be for merging salaries in addition to that. Like that should absolutely be in the scope of someone who's qualified.
Should we confirm that the person has experience doing that?
If their title, what's the title of this role? If they are whatever the title for this role is, I just did some quick looking up on Google about how many towns have regionalized, and there's a plethora of information about that and the skill set that has to come with that. I would be hard pressed to say that if somebody's been through a regionalization exercise that wasn't included. It seems like it has to be included. I can't, unless you guys can think of a situation where merging two schools that wasn't considered. I feel like it absolutely has to be.
Okay,
And we
Pat,
already did part of that.
Pat may know about this, but we even had melding of different salary schedules within the Pioneer District in the early 90s.
Yes.
I know the high school teachers were making more than the elementary teachers. And I remember my first year in the district, no one in the high school got a raise because they needed to bring the elementary teachers up to the same salary level as the high school teachers.
That's exactly what I was going to just say, Karen. I've
You
been
know,
through it. I know what it's all about,
yeah,
and it works. It's a lot of hair pulling, but
Yeah.
it worked for us. And the Pioneer teachers were not happy. The elementary teachers were ecstatic. It's just, it's the game we played at that time.
Yeah.
And it worked.
Well, that was a negotiation, or that was a consultant coming in and saying, here's how to do it.
It was a negotiation. It was
Okay.
it was a lot of negotiations.
I mean, I believe that negotiations could work, but I hear what Jennifer said. If
Yeah.
we can find it, I just think the consultant we've been using doesn't have that experience based on my experience with that consultant.
No,
So
I
if we
disagree.
can find someone else, that'll be good.
I disagree, but we can go from there. They did what we asked them to do before when we just asked them to give us an idea of a salary schedule. And it was a very light review that we did because that's what we asked for. Renee, you've
Well-
been very patient. And you haven't had a chance to talk. You're muted.
Yeah, thanks. I was just scrolling around here. Yeah, I guess my point was going to be what I think your point is right now, Alan, that we asked, based on what I remember reading through the reports and being a part of through the process, is they did a light review. They took like 3 lanes and they compared. And so I think this work will be more minute, like it will look at the total population. And I think what was gleaned from that brush over look may or may not be true. Like I think that looking at the schedule, it's not as dire as their report indicated as far as the differences. I think it might go the other way. I don't know if this is like the recent negotiated amounts, because I know Gil Montague just finished their negotiations as well as we have. or maybe they were a little ahead of us. But anyway, it was not a comprehensive look. But if they take the numbers of the actual staff, full staff versus full staff in this moment in time, and get a big picture, and administration as well, like we may glean more of a savings than their initial report in administration, since administration costs are up quite a bit at Pioneer. So I think it deserves a good hard look, and it's going to be essential to answer this question, to come as close to an answer as we can get, because it's always a moving target, to base our recommendations on, because I, for one, wouldn't be comfortable making a recommendation on that old report. So whether these new, if it's the same, I do share Mike's concern that possibly a new group would be a better choice, like get some fresh eyes on it, look at it with fresh eyes, would be a great opportunity. But is there any other group out there? I don't know. But what I'm saying is it was a light brush. This would be a more comprehensive look based on what I think I'm hearing and what I would want to see before I made a determination.
Well, and we had that group back to do a more comprehensive project. And as I said before, I don't think it went well. We did not get what we asked for. We did not get what they promised. And they took a lot longer to deliver what they did deliver than they said they would.
Yeah, so I mean, hopefully there's another group out there. I don't know how we like expand our search. I'm not opposed to having a different group. I think that's a fine idea.
We'll see who bids on it. And then it's up to us to be very clear on what it is we're looking for.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Are we allowed to, I know it says here reference checks will be required. Are we allowed to ask for what previous regionalization projects they have led to determine if they
Yes.
have that in depth? Is that in there somewhere?
Yes.
Was- Do that.
Renee, do you want to talk again, or you just didn't put your hand down?
Just didn't put my hand down, sorry.
So far, this country has lasted, as a democracy, has lasted longer than any.
So the biggest takeaway and the biggest catch that I appreciated was Mike's comment about what we don't want them to do. We don't want them to be doing an educational plan and so forth. What we do want them to do is a thorough look at what a salary schedule would look like, and place people based on the criteria already said, and what that number might look like, and then do a similar thing with
May I interrupt for?
benefits, and that would be applied to the assessments. Yes,
Can I just interrupt? The qualifications are not what we're asking them to do. The qualifications is to define what their experience is. The components of this will be financial analysis and development of a proposed educational plan for an expanded K through 12 region. To me, is saying that whoever this group is has to have experience in that. Not that they're going to do that they have to have experience in it. So qualifications is not necessarily telling the scope of services is what we're asking them to do, not the qualifications. So we're not asking them to do an educational plan. That's in the qualifications, not in the scope of services. So let's just be clear about that. But we do want a group that has experience in merging two districts into a larger district, so that they have the context of what we're trying to do. So I just want to make that clear, that in the scope of services, you don't see anything about creating an educational plan, because that's not what we're asking them to do. Okay?
yeah, and that's a good point. That's a good point, Ray. I didn't know, it sounded to me like it might be confusing to them, but that's an excellent distinction to raise. So it's pretty much spelled out on the scope of what we're looking at. If it doesn't
Okay,
have
so-
salary and benefits in there, then it needs to. Does the word benefits in there?
I didn't see it.
I thought it
No.
was, but I'm looking at it again. Salary schedule, staffing will be supplied, but, oh, that's what they're looking for. So let's say, we can insert it in there, Greg, where the salary schedule and staffing you said will be supplied by both districts, and the benefit, how would we say it? And the benefits, the
Want to just say salary and benefit schedules?
well, then it's not a schedule. It's like what they choose to sign up for. It's because there's something offered, and then choices offered, and people select them. So I don't know if you could put it that way. Yeah,
But you need to also capture the fact that within the contracts is the percentage of the fees that are paid by the district and are paid by the individual. I don't know how you say that, but
Yeah, that's a biggie.
that is a big one, right? And I think it's 90-10 and Gil Montague and 75-25.
Well, the
PBR.
benefits will be, the benefits will be spelled out in terms of what the districts give them. So,
Okay,
yeah, and to that end, I think it was already sort of implied that the better benefits would take hold, just like in the salary schedules.
It says teachers there, teacher salary. Do we want to, going back to an earlier point, do we want to expand that to staff,
We could say-
no,
faculty and staff?
no,
So paraprofessionals will not be included?
no, we're just looking at the teachers right now. We're not gonna
And
start looking at the negotiations of all the other custodians, cafeteria,
will-
paraprofessionals. We're not doing that.
Well,
That
we're
will
not
happen
actually
quick
looking at any negotiations, right? I mean, how do
This
other
is
people
to get
feel?
us an
I'm
idea
wondering why it
of-
would be more, why including staff wouldn't make more sense.
Think it's necessary. You might have
Bill?
a lot of different working hours with other staff. The teachers' working hours, we'll just say hours, are pretty standard throughout school districts. But your custodians, your cafeteria workers, all those people might have a lot of different hours. And I think it's way too complicated. I think that the overview of just the salaries of the teachers would be best. Okay.
What about paraprofessionals, substitute teachers? Maybe are they considered teachers?
We're not building a new district here. We're trying to get information to see what assessments would look like and how much they would fluctuate.
Yeah, but we're doing so
Bill,
by
your
building. a
hand
new
is
district.
up. Yeah, Bill?
Thank you. Paraprofessionals are definitely, they're not professional teachers, but they certainly perform an invaluable function within the classroom and with the particular students and perhaps all the students, but nonetheless, all of that aside, paraprofessionals go up and down depending on the need of the students to have one. So they're not necessarily a fixture as your teachers are. And that's the only way I would answer it. I would think, yes, people will be looking at the need for things. If you go back to the Mars report, their suggestions were based on, of staffing levels, for example, were based on them looking at the curricula of both districts, trying to merge them together and concluding that, yes, with this total staff, you could put together a fairly good curriculum based on the curriculums that are already available. It would just be more fulfilled in terms of availability of all of that. And that's been a lot of discussion that we've had. So you know that the consultants can take any new consultant can take information from our past consultants that is fairly accurate, and plug in some numbers. And with all of this discussion, from my perspective, I think that they're trying to compare Pioneer and Gil Montague at this time is a good exercise, but when you set up a new district, everybody is going to be a new employee. There aren't going to be any old employees because it's a brand new district. And that's where you're at. So however you want to set it up, you're looking at a ballpark number to try to present and say, this is going to cost us a lot more than these two schools run separately, or it's going to cost us the same amount perhaps, or it might be a little less. But nonetheless, the core group you want to nail in are your teachers and custodians and food people, but the teachers are the biggest unit, and certainly their benefits go with them. So all of that stuff is going to be included, and we can argue about whether or not this particular number is absolutely correct. But this is just really to bring an example forward that is close to what you think is going to be the reality when you get there. And that's pretty much all I have to say. Thank you.
So Bill, that's a really good point. And just to build off though, that point is, and then from that, best guess at this point in time, we're going to start generating different assessments to see what that would look like. And bring that to the town, to the Board of Selectmen and Finance, and say, here's the impact of what these different assessments methods would look like and how it impacts the towns based on us, taking an analysis of what the salaries for teachers could be and benefits. That's all we're trying to do, because we did a very light one last time, as Renee pointed out. So I'm
Okay, can we talk about assessments then?
talk about what now?
Assessments.
Sure.
You've mentioned 3 that you want to see here. The Gil-Montague method, which is, I believe, October 1st enrollments, attending enrollments. The Pioneer method, which is rolling average of October 1st and December 1st enrollments. And you say foundation. Do you mean single year foundation, or do you mean rolling average foundation? And would it make sense to have both of them, since we have both essentially in the attending enrollment side?
Isn't your foundation enrollment different than your attending enrollment?
Yes.
So what's the problem?
Well, the question is, do you use a single year or a rolling average?
It's a little psychological problem. I'm sorry, Zach, but she could teach.
That is, you could use a bunch of different assessments, Mike. We're using 3 to see what that would look like. If we were to move forward, if we were to actually move forward, these would be conversations that the town's folks, that the boards of selectmen and finance committees would say, let's dig a little deeper, or let's take a look at what assessments would be if we tried this. Or how about if we did a combination? That's all things that we will rely heavily on the towns of what they think, but we can at least provide some examples of what it looks like in these 3. This is not we're going to try to cover every chocolate and vanilla and strawberry and all the other types of ice creams that are out there. This is trying to give them some basic information. They may want more.
Well, that may be true. I'm just thinking that you may remember that I put together some sample assessment calculations a while ago, and I used 5 methods, of 3 of which are here. I'm just a little curious as to why you didn't use those 5, since they'd already been used. I put a certain amount of thought into why I chose those, and didn't go any further than that, but did want to use those. And it seems to me that the choice between a rolling average and a single year is
Yeah,
important.
yeah.
I think that attending enrollment, my personal opinion, is a bad way. I believe that Pioneer moved to foundation enrollment from attending enrollment with their new district agreement. Is that correct?
We don't
No,
have,
they
a-
don't have a new district agreement. They still
And
are
we-
operating on the district agreement.
Well,
On the fi-
okay, then maybe
which
I'm wrong,
was,
but
which was a 5-year rolling, which
of which?
is,
It is now.
Foundation or
it is
attending?
now. It has remained so far, a 5-year rolling.
Okay, but attending or foundation?
Attending, I believe.
Right now, it's attending.
I think so.
Oh,
Okay, I remember hearing back a couple of years ago or more that Pioneer
So,
was
Mike-
moving to a foundation.
Mike,
To me,
is
a
your
foundation
point
makes
that-
more sense.
Okay, Mike,
And-
is your point that you would like to, because I don't want to be dragging this on all night. Is your point, because I'm with you, if you are making the point that you would like me to share with Joanne, and the board says, yeah, let's see what that might do to the RFQ and expense and so forth. If you think that's a good idea and the board agrees, send your other 2 calculating methods to Joanne. And let's see if we can expand this from 3 to 5. Remember, we're also trying to do with Warwick in and with Warwick out, and what the impact of those assessments would be. And that's going to be a little tricky because we don't have them built into the assessment for 24. So we're going to have to go back to 23 and then extrapolate and play a what if game, because we don't have that information now when 24 budget was calculated. So we're going to have to go back to 23 and see what we can do. So there's within this
Alan, you're breaking up. I can't hear you.
There's going to be some anomalies that we're going to have to take the best approach to how to generate some numbers that are
Alan, you're breaking up.
reasonably
Is someone,
Alan, I can send something to Joanne.
Track record. Nobody's
Yeah,
done.
do it.
yeah, I think someone's got to tell him that is he gone?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Relax. and
needs the meeting must be over.
How they doing?
Has Greg left too?
No, he's calling Alan, it looks like.
Yeah.
He's on his phone.
Not letting me in, but when you look at the calendar.
They can hear
okay,
you. They can hear you. Alan, they can hear you through the phone. Oh, now the phone cut out. I don't know if he.
Probably his internet slowed down. because he
Bad
uses
in Warwick. I don't know.
Well, while we're getting it back, I've got a question. What about the central office? There's no mention of merging a central office and coming up with a cost of that in this
That
RFQ.
was my question, Mike, and why my hand's been up, that I would like that added in here, because certainly the administrative cost at Pioneer has gone up quite substantially since the consultants last looked at it. So I think it needs to be something that consultants relook at, because it is a huge efficiency in their first report. I bet the gap has even grown more if I was a wagering person.
When the weather
the amount-
gets bad,
We can't
Oh, Alan.
no.
Alan, you need to move out of Warwick. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Get an internet provider, yeah.
Hey, I guess I'm back, right?
No, you're frozen.
Now he's calling me.
He's sort of back.
You bet.
And you unmute. It got incredibly overcast here. So my internet is just, I got in, I could see people, I could hear them, but it's a very, very weak connection.
We can tell. But anyway, listen, they can all hear you right now. You're on the phone, so
Oh, good.
go ahead and
Okay.
talk. Nobody needs to see you, trust me.
And,
That way.
and we're way past our 2 hours, just so
No,
you know.
Yeah, let's wrap it up. So Mike
Yeah.
said he would send Joanne what he's looking for. They brought up the fact that there's nothing in the RFQ about,
I don't know. Down that road.
well, I mean, that's gonna have to be included if they're running assessments anyways. They're gonna have to come up with some sort of cost structure for central office. I mean, they can't, just
Right.
turn a blind eye to that. So, I mean, I think that's probably why Joanne didn't put it in there, because it's really developing the salary schedule. I think they can take a ballpark figure with the central office. That's my guess, but
What would one superintendent look like? What would one
Right.
administrative assistant look like? That's fine. We can include that.
right.
See what else. And then I'm gonna ask her about other methodologies for assessment. I didn't really want to get crazy here in that we got Warwick in, Warwick out. We've got the 5 towns we run them, the 6 towns we run them, a theoretical one. So it's gonna get hard. I just want to make sure we look pretty in terms of this is what your assessment could look
Good luck,
like
yeah,
given
sure.
this scenario. And we lay out what the scenario was that we looked at and said is what it could look like. The scenarios are going to likely change, but it connects 2 dots.
Right.
So they can see. We can't connect every
Yeah,
dot.
we can't give them a hard number because it doesn't exist.
Right.
We
And
can get projections.
for custodian and cafeteria and terror, we just can't start connecting all those dots. But it's reasonable to do central office and to do the teacher salary schedule and to do the benefits. So you and I can talk, and I can talk to Joanne. When you arrange dates, please avoid the ones that the 17th, the 18th.
What dates what are we talking about? What dates are we talking
We're
about?
talking about
Oh, for our next meeting.
Yeah.
I've got another question about the RFQ. I don't see, am I missing? It doesn't specifically say to develop a budget for a combined region.
No, they're not.
I mean, it's implied. It seems like you'd have to do that in order to calculate assessments, but it doesn't say that shall be done.
Can you
Seems
make
to
it?
me that it ought to.
Good point.
Going to take that information and it is going to be added to existing budgets to give what a protected budget might look like with the implications of the salary schedule and benefits.
Where's that wording?
No, he's saying it's not in there. He says we're gonna have to add that.
Okay.
I mean, it is implied. I don't know how they would run assessments without some sort of,
Right, but it just seems to me we ought to spell out, you never know.
Which is why Joanne.
I don't know how they would
sent
do
us
it.
her entire
But,
budget.
Yeah.
What do you think you could do the next meeting?
well, I think it might actually be wise to wait till after that, since we need to get these meetings behind us, I would think.
Mm.
That would be my recommendation, but unless anyone feels that there's a need to have a meeting before, I can't see.
No,
I think we
No.
need to get these meetings behind us.
right.
last week is here. So, how about the week of June 5th? In there.
Well, it could be, it would have to be like
The 6th or 7th?
I-
Me?
the 6th. I could do the 8th, maybe the 7th,
Maybe.
maybe. For me,
Well, why don't we put it down as a tentative then, for now?
What?
The 7th?
Okay,
How do people feel? Can you take it, can you look to see how many people are saying, yeah, they probably could arrange their schedule?
all
What
right,
Around
day of the
what?
week?
raise
What
your
day
hand.
of-
Do this
What?
June,
June
June
7th.
what?
June
June 7th.
Wednesday.
Yes.
Wednesday.
Mhm.
Come on, Lynn. Let's see that hand. I knew you could do it.
Okay.
It's coaxing, it's all you need. All right, that's pretty much everyone.
That would mean the major thing that would happen at that meeting would be to review the proposal and to make an award. Can people hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, that's the major work at that meeting. And then the other thing will be to talk about a potential RFQ for marketing. We can at least get that conversation going for, over the summer and strategies and so forth. And then do another RFQ over the summer. Right.
Okay.
Sounds
I think we should wrap it up.
Okay. Well, are we gonna get a report from Mary?
Report from Mary. Well, for what?
For our meeting.
Well, it seems to me we've done things backwards. We've got slides which are in the slideshow that she produced, but we haven't seen what they're based on. Seems to me we should get a report from her,
Yeah, but
and the slides should reflect.
Yeah, she sent out a much more detailed slides originally, but yeah, I think she still has to do a report. And I wonder if she's waiting because, her report is, I mean, I'm wondering if this is all a part of the same RFQ though, right? I mean, she's still working off the same. She may not put that that report together until she's done with all the meetings, including the ones to come. So,
Well, it seems to me the slides are premature,
well,
my opinion.
no, the slides are not premature because they're from detailed meetings.
With- Yeah.
The slides are, hold up, Alan.
vote on those. We should be all set.
Yeah, I mean, the slides, I'm gonna mute you for a second, Alan. The slides are from those specific meetings. So, I mean, but a finalized report won't come until after all the meetings.
I'm just saying, if somebody wants to see what's behind the slides, right now, there's nothing behind the slides.
Right, but if Mary recorded these exact answers from the students and put those exact answers onto these slides, there's no discussion because we weren't at those meetings.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
whatever her slide says is what was said.
Yeah.
I mean, at some point, there needs to be a level of trust as professionals that she was capable of recording what the students said and putting it onto a slide.
Yeah, and I mean, both Ellen and I were at those meetings and I mean, looking through the slides, she sent them to us and I said, yeah, that pretty much captures exactly what they said and the feedback that we got from students and the sentiment. So I think we're okay with the slides that exist, but we just want to make sure that if there was any sort of questions about them, but I think we should include them because it's new information that going into the meetings with teachers and parents, they may be curious to know what came out of those meetings. And if we just don't put them up, I think that's being irresponsible. So
I'd like to move that we include Mary's slides in the presentation that's given to the faculty, staff, and parents.
Second.
yeah, okay. And a roll call vote. Yeah, so okay, that's Lynn.
Karen, yes.
Yes, okay, looks like Bill.
Yes.
Yes,
Michelle,
Yes.
Yes, Michelle, yes. And yes, Mike,
I'm gonna be a no.
Okay,
I don't think they're ready for prime time.
okay, and I'll say yes. And Alan?
Absolutely.
Okay, okay. All right.
And Greg, do you remember that Mary Gunn came on and presented, at I believe it was the previous meeting, in kind of a bullet form of what we heard so far?
Oh, yeah, she was very detailed. There was a lot more slides to it too. But she boiled it down, all those. So behind the 3 slides that she sent is all the information she presented at one of the previous meetings.
Yes.
That is correct. So
Yeah.
for Mike to say he doesn't know what's behind him, he needs to go back and look at the information.
From
That,
that
Well,
meeting.
I'm thinking of other people watching this presentation. Isn't this supposed to be getting information out to the public as well as ourselves? And
No.
I don't want to, you want to get the meeting over, let's get the meeting over.
That'll be in the fall, Mike.
Will be.
Okay,
Okay.
All right, so its slides are okay, and Mike, you'll send your additions to Joanne as far as the RFQ?
Yep.
Okay, and then, is there anything left on the agenda? Just
I
so,
think,
I put it away.
so next meeting will be hopefully June 7th at 6:30. And I guess that's it. So motion to adjourn.
I
So
move that
moved.
we adjourn.
Karen, Lynn seconded. All right,
roll call.
roll call, Lynn,
Tied up being negative on.
Karen,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Pat,
Yes.
Mike,
yes.
Michelle,
Yes.
Deb,
Yes.
Alan,
Yes.
and I say yes. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
All
All
right.
right.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Aye.